What's up, fam? Hope you're doing fantastic out there. Today we have a knife that's been a long time in the making. This is a knife that I have looked at and thought about picking up forever, and finally a couple of weekends ago was able to strike a deal for one at the Blade Runner Bazaar. So shout out to those guys, RJ and Corey. You guys are awesome. Taking a look here, this is the Malibu. This is the battle-worn dragon scale handle with the DLC MagnaCut reverse Tonto blade. That is a mouthful. I haven't done many protechs, or I don't know if I've done any protechs that are new like this right out of the box. So just a little bit of idea how the boxes are. If you guys haven't seen a protech unboxing before, they come in a nice little pouch. Of course, they have all the typical stuff on the inside. But let's go ahead and get that closed up and get on to what's important, which is the knife. So this is a model from Protech that has been out, for a long time. This is one of their classic versions, one of their classic models, and again, this is one that I've thought about picking up for quite a long time and just never quite pulled the trigger. I couldn't quite find the right version for whatever reason. Ended up, kind of falling in love with the Dragon Scale version, and for something about this specific one kind of spoke to me a lot. I saw it a couple of different times up there at Blade Runner, and it was still in stock when I went up there for the bazaar, so it just kind of it just kind of worked out to come home with me. So a few specs here. We're looking at a 3¼ inch blade, 3½ inches overall, and just 2.99 ounces. They do use aluminum handles here. Again, MagnaCut blade steel. I don't know the HRC. I'll try to find that and put it up on the screen there. Again, you have your branding there on the spine of the knife. That is the only branding on the entire knife, which is really nice. I do really enjoy that. Now, these things run the gamut on pricing. This specific version, you're looking at $320 because of the specialized handles. Starting price on these is right around $225. I do know they make MagnaCut and 20CV versions. And then these things just go to the moon because there's full custom versions of these out there that are just astronomical pricing. But entry-level pricing on these for your standard aluminum handles and MagnaCut are $2¼ So for a USA-made button lock, that is just absolutely amazing. You really can't complain with that for those materials for sure. Let's go ahead and jump into the close-ups on this knife, and then we will go over the rest of everything here. So zoomed in here, you do have this really nice dragon scale machining on these aluminum handles. Typical of Protech, you do have a standard hex head there on the pivot. However, a standard T6 works in that without any issues. It actually fits very nicely in there. If it's too tight, I would suggest actually getting the hex head there, then T6 hardware the rest of the way. But if you have a really tight pivot there, then of course using the correct hex head for that. Really clean show side here, no other hardware at all. Just the button, the pivot, and the stop pin screw there. Sandwich construction here, so no backspacer. It's all just just two pieces here. You do have a lanyard loop, typical Protech pocket clip. Really nicely done pocket clip, and then of course that is flush with flush hardware. Again, there's all that T6 hardware going through, and then smartly they did put a flush spot underneath that, so there's no texture underneath the pocket clip, which is really smart on their part. And then again, you have the really clean hardware look, and then just here you have the flush pivot, and then a single T6 there on the stop pin. Centering is spot on. Let's go try to show that again. There we go. Centering spot on, and they help you out with that because it is a sandwich construction there, so blades lines perfectly up with that. And here we have that really nice DLC reverse Tonto blade shape. I really love this blade shape. Of course, perfectly clean, zero billboarding at all. Flipper design. Plunge grind is a little late, but it is terminating before the blade starts, so no issues there. Sharpening looks to be good. Check that tip. Let's see if we'll be able to see that tip here. There we go. See that tip? Apologize for the dirty hands. They are clean. They're just stained. Working on some cars this weekend. And anybody that's ever done that knows your hands are stained for a while. That tip is perfectly straight. No issues there. Here we can see the plunge lock. So it is a standard plunge lock. Now, any protech I've ever touched from the factory does have a little bit of button stick. These do break in very nicely, and that button stick does go away. But from the factory, they are going to have a little bit of button stick. I personally don't mind at all. Really, really, really nice jimping. Let's show that jimping here. Great job on the jimping for the flipper. It definitely grabs the skin. Zero issues there. Just absolutely allows you to just rocket that blade out without any issues whatsoever. Go ahead and do our hardware check. And like I said, this does use a T6 on all of our body screws. And we got just a little bit of movement right there. Nothing major. Just a little bit of movement there. No movement there. Nothing there. And then, like I said, you can use a T6 in the pivot there, but it does use a actual Allen key there. Button placement is great. Again, action is phenomenal. I don't have any issues at all with this knife. This is, like I said, this is one that's been been on the list for quite a while, and like I said, I'm so happy to have finally been able to cross it off the list. As far as ergonomics are concerned, it's a protech. They do really great jobs with their design language and with their design work. Finger tools in the right spot. Chamfering here on the front edge gives you really nice soft edges. The jimping on the flipper gives you a really strong spot to put your finger up against and gives you traction there. No jimping on the back of the blade, which I'm fine with. I'd rather have none there than have it in the wrong spot or have bad jimping. So you're still locked in with this flipper and everything with the finger tool, how all that works. Pocket clip, you can feel it from time to time depending on what way you're gripping the knife, but for the most part, I don't feel that pocket clip at all. Your pinch grip, you come in behind it, you get into that utility cut. That's fantastic. And especially with that blade style, it allows you to really get in there and do what you need to do for those normal day-to-day tasks. You can actually reverse flick off of the blade. So I have noticed though, when you do that, the blade does hit on the aluminum handle. So a little bit of that Cerakote or a little bit of that finish kind of wears off on the blade. So no big deal. I just kind of wipe it back off, but I don't make a habit of doing it just because I don't want to add undue wear to the knife or to the blade. But you can certainly reverse flick off of that. What I do is I just come down here at the bottom of the knife and just get right on the edge, and then it allows me to reverse flick off of there pretty easily. But yeah, I don't know, guys. This is one that, like I said, this is one that I had been thinking about for quite a long time, and I'm really happy to have added it to the collection. I know this thing has a cult following, as well as protech in general has a heck of a following. So let me know what you guys think down below. I know a lot of you guys own this knife, and if you don't own it, is it one that you've been looking at? Or if you don't like it, let me know why. I know a lot of folks hate on button locks, which it's everybody has an opinion on everything. So it is what it is. If you don't like them, that's fine. Personally, I don't have any issues with them for what I use a knife for. A folding knife for, I as long as the knife locks, I really don't care. And then even for the slip joints and stuff like that, it's like I said, for me, it's a moot point. So let me know what y'all think down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Y'all take care.